Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to another edition of the Forex Weekly Forecast. My name is Alexander Nikitin and I appreciate you guys being here. If it's the first time you are watching this series, what I'm trying to do is to bring some good ideas of what's gonna happen next week. Something that I'm looking at. And also there's something that maybe you will learn about trading as well, so you walk away with a little bit of knowledge. Okay, last time we were discussing the swing structure and the types of swing that can exist in the market, but we didn't discuss the way you can identify the swings. So today, the topic of today's discussion is the swing identification techniques. Okay, let me have some empty space on the chart to draw you my representation of my thoughts. And the first thing I want you to get acquainted with is that William Gann swing identification technique. What we need to look at the highs and the lows of bars. Let this bar be black. Let this bar be black, so it represents whatever candle. It doesn't matter if it is bearish or bullish or something else. Okay, let me clone it and let us go. Every time, according to William Gann swing identification technique, every time we have a higher high above the previous candle and a higher low above the previous candle, we have a swing started. So I will mark that swing with that arrow tool. Okay, this is the beginning and this is the end. Okay, for example, we have next candle that began, and that candle has a higher high and a higher low. So that means that the swing continues. This time we will only discuss a two-bar identification system of swing identification. Okay, we have next high and the swing continues. So it doesn't matter what color of the candle we have, just highs and lows. Higher high, higher high, higher high, higher low, higher low, higher low. And the system says that the swing is continued until we have two lows below the previous, below each other, below previous low. Okay, let me show it how it looks like. Let me clone that, and we have some candle that has a lower low below the previous low. And the system says we need two because it is two-bar identification swing. So we need two lows. One low is lower than the previous one, and another low is lower than the previous one. So that means that the swing, the first swing ended, and another swing, opposite one swing, is began. Of course, we may have some continuation, not necessarily two lows. We can have three lows, or we can have five lows. Clone it, yes, something like that. But the minimum requirement is two low. That's why it is called William Gann two-bar identification systems. So this swing will continue to the downside until we get two highs above previous. You see that this the high, so we need the next high and the next high. Okay, let me draw this for example like that. We have the first high, and let me draw that for example like that. We have the second high. So that means that the swing started to the upside. Oh, sorry. Let me draw it further. For example, we have it this way and another candle. Clone that this way and another candle. Clone that this way. So you see my drawings, and that continues. This swing continues. And only when you have identified the swings, only then you need to decide what type of the swing you have. First of all, you need to remember the structure of the swing. It contains borders and it contains a body. So if the opposite swing only touches the body, then it is a corrective swing as compared to previous swing, the relations between the swings. And if the next swing is violating the previous swing initial point, that means that it is an impulse swing, because it's violating the border of the previous swing. So impulse swing, retest swing, correction swings, they are only the relationships between the swings, but you need to have a system how to identify swings. I told you about William Gann system, two-bar system. That presupposes you should have an ascending highs, ascending lows for upswing, and descending high, descending low for downswing. And if that structure is broken, for example, two highs in opposite direction, that means you have another swing, opposite swing started. Let me draw it further. For example, like that, you have that first low, yes, but you didn't have the second low. Clone that. So you have this. Clone that. You have that. So that means that the swing continues. Not only one candle is just a noise, not a correction. So one candle is noise. As you remember from our previous lesson, from our previous Forex weekly forecast edition, I told you that swing mostly contains of the same colors, of candles of the same colors. This can be the color that is different. That's why I said mostly. I didn't say it should always be the same color. This is the color that is different. This is swing identification technique as William Gann. You can search it on the internet. There are many types of that swing identification technique. If you want to skip more noise, if you want to have more larger movements, skip more intermediate some swings, you can use William Gann 3-bar swing system. This is the same that 2-bar system. For example, you have this one candle, clone another one. Okay, another one. I will show it to you on the charts a bit later. And another one, clone that, clone that, clone that. We have an upswing because of ascending highs, ascending lows. And to have an opposite swing, we need 3 lows, 3 descending lows, like this. 1, 2, 3 descending lows. It is only 2. If we have only 2, then we need to skip it, but if we have 3, we cannot skip that. So this is a swing identification technique for some major trends. This is having 2-bar identification system is a kind of intermediate trends. Having 3-bar identification system is for major trends. And having 1-bar identification system, you will detect in every opposite movement of the market, every noise you will be taking. That will be very, very minor trend identification system. Oh, sorry, swing identification system. Okay, let's skip to the chart. Let us go to the chart and have some examples real time on the market. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, daily. Let me zoom it a bit so you can see what I mean. Okay, so we have this low. This inside low, inside bar should be skipped because we do not have a lower low. Then we have another low and another low. So our swing is looking this way. Magnet mode, please. The first low, second low, the third low, and what we have next. We do not have another low lower than the previous low, but we have high higher than the previous high. And using swing identification technique, 2-bar swing identification technique, we need a second bar having the high. We only had the first one. So we skip this formation and go to next low. Next low, we have that high, next low, another low, and we have inside bar here. inside bar doesn't give us any lower low or doesn't give us higher low. So what we have, our first high higher than the previous high is here, and our second high higher than the previous high is here. So that means that opposite swing started. We have it this way. So, and we will move until we have the opposite swing, having two lows lower than the previous low. Okay, we are moving next, higher high, higher high, higher high, and that candle gives us lower low and the second lower low, so we cannot skip that. We should have it this way. And again, we have a higher high, higher high, that means an opposite movement. And going again, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low. So this is the swing identification technique by William Gann. It is you can draw it, you can practice it on your charts, and judging by that, draw your patterns this way, having the relations between these swings. You can see, okay, this is a large swings, and these are 1, 2, 3, 4 swings take place only within the previous swing, so that means the corrective swings as compared to the previous swings. So you can take impulse swings at those that violate the previous swings range, and you can trade them having some formation, some godly formation, something like that, zigzag formation or whatever you are trading, I don't know, or just simply taking some retracements. Okay, let us go back to our drawing tools and let us get acquainted to my own swing identification technique. This is not the what was his name? William Gann. It is not William Gann's identification system. My system is a bit more sophisticated because my system differentiates between the color of the candles. Note that in Gann's system you don't need the color of the candle, but in my system you do need them. Okay, I'm using Dow Jones principles, so whatever I'm looking at, I ask a question. If we have the Dow Jones principle, what Dow Jones principle says that we need to have that kind of a movement to say that we have a trend. So, and also Dow Jones says that we in the markets we can meet major trends and we can meet minor trends. That's it. So I am differentiating between major and minor trends the following way. Let me continue my drawings this way. Okay, no, sorry, red candle. I will draw it like this, something like that. One more second, please. Be patient. Okay. Okay, that's enough. So it is clearly seen here that we have some swings, something like that, to here, to here, to here, and that gives us a trend, this zigzagging structure, and that would be called a major trend. I would call it a major trend. But what I would call a minor trend would look this way. You need to remember that in green candles price is moving from downside to the upside, and in red candles it is moving from upside to the downside. And if you draw it candle to candle, having these arrows like that, what will you see? You will see it trending to the upside. So according to my identification, the trend remains active until we have an opposite trend. See it this way. What is opposite trend? It is that zigzagging structure in opposite direction. We need this zigzagging structure 1 and 2. It is similar to Gann swing identification technique, but it should not only have these lows 1 and 2 low. This candle should be red. They should move from the upside to the downside. You should use the time also to see if this low appeared after the previous low, because sometimes this low can appear before that previous before the previous low, and that would before the high, sorry. So that would be very strange if you draw this way. For example, we had the candle being red, oh sorry, green, yes, and what it means, that means the candle moves to the downside, then it is moving to the next low, because green candle start movement from down to the up, and then it moves to the upside. So this time you do not have zigzagging structure because the candle is green. But if this candle is red, let me move those arrows away. If this candle is red, only then we have a zigzagging structure, something like this, because we have the high appeared first and then we have a low appeared next. So this zigzagging structure, opposite direction. That means that I have a swing starting from here. This was the swing, this was the opposite swing, and of course having it moving to the upside, yes, we need zigzag in opposite direction, sorry, this way, next way, low to high, just connecting lows to highs according to their appearance. Green candle appears from downside to the upside, and red candle appears from opposite, from upside to the downside. This is my way of swing identification, and that helps me to ignore some smaller movements, some smaller some noise. Yes, as you see, it depends on the color of the candles, because the time when the low appears and when that high appears. Because of that, in Gann identification system, it is not important. You just need two lows lower than each other. But in my system, it is very important, because depending on the color of the candle, the color of the bar, either we have this low appeared before than the high, or we have this high appear before than the low. Very important here. So I'm using Dow Jones principle, trend until we have opposite trend in opposite direction, and then this swing will be lasting until we have opposite trend in opposite direction. This is the same. Let us go to the chart, and you will see what I mean looking at those candle to candle movements. Okay, back the chart. This chart is suffering from my drawings. Okay, let me have it here, the drawing tool, arrow tool. This is the candle that started moving to the upside. Then we go to next, high to low. Of course, we are moving to that high first, to the low, just connecting lows and highs. To lows, this one. Note that this candle is green, so we are moving from the high to low. This one. What is this candle? Is green. This one. You're just connecting highs and lows. Green candles from low to high. Red candles from high to low. And that is very simple. You will identify the swings very, very correct. Very, very good. Let me do this and this. Let me draw a bit more, and then we'll analyze our drawing. Okay. So, okay, we have that movement, and what we need, this movement is to the downside, 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 downside. What we need opposite zigzag structure. This way. Need that lightning structure, or Harry Potter sign structure, if you wish that. Okay, do we have it here? No, we had only one high and didn't have the second one. Okay, then we skip that movement. Okay, and we have it first. We have it here, 1 and 2. This is the first one. So that means the opposite swing started. This is the swing, and that is the opposite swing. So that swing will be lasting until we have opposite zigzagging structure. So it moves to the upside, moves to the upside again, moves to the upside again, moves to the upside again, because we had that lightning structure to the downside. So the downside swing started. And here we have lightning opposite structure to the upside. Upside appeared. And then again we have it to the downside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That zigzagging structure to the downside. That swing to the downside. And that is opposite. 1, 2, 3, 4 appeared. So this is the opposite swing. So as you see, again we have another swing identification technique. And only then, when we identified the swings, we can decide whether this swing is trading in that previous swing range, how it is related to the previous swing, and we can decide either it is a retest swing or a corrective swing or an impulse swing. If it is an impulse swing, we just take it as X to A leg, calculate some Fibonacci ratios to have a better risk to reward, to look for some zigzagging structure, for some Gartley formation, something like that, and we can trade it. Okay, so let us go back and delete all that stuff, and applying the knowledge we have already. Let us find something for the next week. But first I need to delete that stuff. Okay. Next time I will tell you how to relate the swings, how to know if you have a corrective swing or a downside swing. You can do that just using the rules I've told you last time, but there are some more details you need to know before you can do it yourself correct way. Okay. That would be this secret will be revealed next time. Only part of the truth, not the whole truth. Okay. So I will draw it my way because my eye is already trained, so I know whatever swing we have. I'm just marking impulse swings, ignoring other swings, marking impulse swings like this, and that. And you see, every time we have an impulse swing, we have a correction and then a continuation. And again we had a correction and then a continuation that extends the previous impulse. Every time after that impulse we have a continuation extending the impulse. This is the power of the impulse swing. When you have an impulse swing, you most likely will have another impulse swing, and that is called a trend. What is trend exactly? It is a tendency of price to move in one direction, and it is drawn on the chart as zigzag. What is zigzag? It is a swing, an opposite swing, and another swing that extends the previous swing border. So it is an impulse, correction, and an impulse. So if you had an impulse, most likely you will have another one. until this structure is broken to the in this case to the upside. You need to have an impulse in opposite direction, and that will signal you that you have it you have the trend finished. Okay, when we mark that impulse swing, let me take some fibs and I will tell you what I'm looking at. What I'm looking at here, I'm looking at this price to go a bit higher to this level, yes, and I want to sell it all the way down to 127 extension. So that would be my next impulse I'm looking at. So if price goes to that upside, then I will be looking to the downside movement. And if I take that triangle tools and I draw it this way, you will see that what I'm looking at is that Gartley pattern formation, that zigzagging structure, zigzagging type correction. I'm looking at having an impulse and then zigzagging correction, and then to the downside. Just don't pay at these ratios. They are not very commonly used. My own ratios are a bit different. So do not ask me those questions. Oh, okay, this ratio belongs to bets or something like that. This is the not topic of our today's discussion. I will discuss you. I will tell you my Gartley ratios, my own calculations a bit later. Just be patient. You'll see in my next videos. Okay, that's it for today. Let's calculate the target. Target is here, short position, starting from here. Stop loss will be just 219 pips, and the reward will be 100 pips, something like that. Yes, 108 pips. So that would be your risking that much. You have this much of rewards. Okay, that's all for today. If you like my videos, please press those like buttons, subscribe, share this video with everybody whom you know, who you want to get better in trading, something like that. And what else? I hope to see you next week. We'll have another part of discussion on swing identification techniques, on some those ratio trading techniques that I'm using at, and some ways I perceive the markets. Okay, so see you next time then.